2, 3, hit me.
Welcome into the Be Different podcast, and if you haven't already, please just be sure to follow the Be Different podcast on all social medias, and if you're watching it on YouTube, and I know people are because I can see the views on YouTube, can you please just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner right now?
Help us.
Yeah, just help us out.
Spread the word.
And Andy, we're not asking for money at this time, right? No money here. We're just hit the follow button, and then if you're on Instagram, hit it on Instagram. If you're on Twitter, which Andy Mack is now on Twitter. And Andy, I have to say, I am extremely proud of you that you're on Twitter. And you're not just on Twitter, you're active on Twitter right now.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know what my Twitter handle is. But
what do you mean you don't know what your Twitter
I went from
handle is?
like 8 Twitter followers to like 700 rather quickly. And I really didn't do much to do that.
Well, Andy, if you could get on there more, that would be better.
I don't know
and if
what
we
my
could,
handle is.
If we could live stream on Twitter, that would be great.
Yeah,
hey, Nick and Greg, can we get these live streams going? What's going on? Why are you guys slacking so much?
We can live stream.
I'm so sick of you, dude.
Do you want to do that?
Would you?
I tell you what, Andy, it is so good to have Greg back because Greg and you were feuding a little bit, but I'm glad that you guys have been able to patch things up.
Manufacture something.
No.
There's nothing. I respect these guys.
Andy Mack manufactured
recruits,
that.
The recruits are the nuts and bolts. They are the alpha and omega of this podcast. Whatever.
Who's alpha?
Well, Andy,
Who's the alpha? Who's the omega? All right.
I don't know.
Well, let's not go too far.
I'm not into my Greek alphabet at all.
Well, Andy, I did not think
Sigma Phi Epsilon. That my dad was a member of that fraternity.
Oh, that's what I was in.
Yeah, Sig Ep, the Red Door.
I know. I like you.
He was at Syracuse.
Or maybe I like your dad.
In the 30s and 40s, he was a Sig Ep, and they've closed that sucker down now.
That's too bad.
I got kicked out of mine.
The house. Too much drinking.
You got kicked out of your fraternity?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I could see
We
that.
can just talk about this later.
Another time.
Yeah.
I could see that big time.
Well, Andy, it's good to have Nick here. I did not think that he would be in this week, considering that his Kentucky Wildcats got their freaking ass beat by the Duke Blue Devils on national TV in front of everybody. I mean, they looked horrendous. For as good as how Duke looked, it looked like Kentucky did not prepare at all for that game. Nick, what happened from your point of view as a Kentucky fan?
The game started, and then we never showed up.
Yeah, and it was not very good.
Tyler Hero looked really bad. He looked scared. They're going to be fine. They're going to be good, but I don't think that there's a team in the country that can beat Duke, period. Duke can beat themselves.
Duke's pretty good.
Okay, Andy, you got that big old X on your shirt. How excited are you? Do you want them to lose to Auburn so they can just...
Wait, you want to see the Duke Blue Devils in the second round of Maui?
Bring them on. I could care less. In fact, I predict that San Diego State will beat them.
Oh, wow. Andy.
Okay, what are we betting here?
I don't know. A donut?
Andy, I feel like you're...
Donut hole. How about that? Hey, a win over Auburn is a great... it's not RPI anymore. It's an NET. NCAA evaluation tool boost. That's a huge win if Xavier can beat Auburn. And with the strength of the field in Maui, one Xavier victory is like gold out there. The field is loaded.
Yeah, and Duke's going to win by 30 every game.
Ooh, I don't know.
Here we go.
Gonzaga looks really, really good.
And they might actually come to play, unlike Kentucky.
Ooh.
Not sure. I mean, they might actually compete. I mean, Kentucky looked very scared in that game.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Actually, Coach Cal, excuse me, Coach Cal.
Bless you.
Coach Cal at the start of the second half went over to the scores table and asked for a running clock in the second half to get it over with. It was so far done.
All right, but who cares about Kentucky? Who cares about Duke? Let's get to the real team. That's the Xavier Musketeers. And Andy, this past Tuesday, it was the beginning of a new era. No more Macura, no more Bluiett, no more Chris Mack. It was Travis Steele and a new-look Musketeer team. They beat IUPUI at the Cintas Center 82-69. It wasn't an easy game, but Andy, what were your thoughts from night one?
Well, actually, we have real basketball to talk about, which makes this thing a lot more fun. Not that it wasn't great fun and frolic earlier. Quentin Gooden did not play, and he's arguably Xavier's most important player, so you factor that into the equation. I thought Xavier started very quickly. They got out to a 10-0 lead. They were playing the pack line defense to perfection, and then the foul trouble raised its ugly head. And with a relatively thin bench, foul trouble is going to be a major factor this year. Tyreek Jones picked up 2 quickies. Paul Scruggs, who was basically the only point guard with Quentin not even dressed because of the shoulder injury, he picked up 2. Xavier built up an 18-point lead. Hanky McSpanky, Zach Hankins did a great job. He talked their top player, Cameron Justice, the transfer from Vanderbilt, into tripping him. I mean, that must have been something Hanky said, or a series of things he said to get that kid frustrated, because he flat out tripped him in the open court. He got a flagrant 2, and he was ejected from the game.
Yeah, Hankins has a little bit of that JP mentality in him a little bit.
Yeah,
Very different players.
Yes,
but he's got that same edge to him and that passion on the court that we saw with JP. So I think Hankins will be a guy that fans are excited to watch night in and night out. He's going to be a fan favorite all year.
He is a piece of work, and he actually didn't shoot the ball very well, but he had 5 blocked shots. That's the most blocked shots I remember since like the days of Aaron Williams back in the early 90s.
2013. Andrew Taylor had 6 blocks on senior night.
Ate, the sheriff.
Yes.
Get out of town.
Promise you.
Did that include the warm-up against his own players?
I don't know.
Stop.
I liked Andrew Taylor. Good player. He's from
I love Andrew Taylor. Are you kidding me?
He was from Hillsdale, right?
Yeah, he was a transfer from Hillsdale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out
He's
there.
He's a Toledo guy.
Yeah, St. John's. Yeah, St. John's.
Yeah.
Went to Hillsdale for a couple of years, and I lived with Andrew Taylor for a couple of years. Shout out to Ate. He now works for ProLink, lives in Arizona. He's got a great life. He's a family man now.
Good for Andrew Taylor.
Yeah. Right.
So Xavier led by 18 with about a little less than 6 minutes to go in the first half, and then the IUPUI Jaguars, came out of the jungle, and they cut it to 37-34 Xavier at the half. But you knew that reality would hit in the second half.
You
and
just
knew.
knew.
It did. The grad transfers were a big factor in this. Kyle Castlin, who is one of your more unselfish players, he's definitely a Malcolm Bernard play-alike. You remember Malcolm was a key in that Elite Eight run for Xavier 2 years ago. Castlin scored 7 straight when the game was close. I think the IUPUI took a brief lead, and they went zone. Castlin hit a rainbow 3 from the head of the key. It was way out there at NBA range, and that sort of cracked the zone, and Castlin went on a personal 7-point run. He had 9 points, 8 rebounds, good floor game. He's like a Swiss Army knife, very, very valuable. Hope he can stay healthy. And then Ryan Welledge. Everybody's been, he can only shoot the ball. He's not, he's a one-trick pony. He's a slow guy from Greensburg, Indiana. He scored 24, made 6 threes, 7 rebounds, no turnovers, 2 assists, scrapped, showed a nice mid-range game. Welledge, it was against IUPUI. But Welledge knows what he's doing. This guy, I don't think anybody's ever asked him to play defense before. And he's very serious, good practice player, and his teammates love the guy because they know when they throw it to him, if he can step into a 3, it's in the basket. It's like you. I know his shot is not as pretty and not as
Thank you for saying that. My shot definitely aesthetically is much, much cleaner than a Welledge shot. But Welledge can fill it up. I'm going to give him that. But does it look pretty?
Do you think he beat you in around the world
That's
challenge?
debatable. No, he would. Did you see the 3-point contest? From Musketeer Madness. No. I think that question has been answered. So
I think he's a little nervous. He's been a slow starter in the exhibition game and in IUPUI, but once he gets his sea legs and he gets comfortable, he was he just completely shot up that zone defense. They had no answer. The guys were they'd rip the dribble on the other side of the offense, then flip it over their head to Welledge. Boom. In the bucket. Yeah,
outside of Welledge, the team really struggled from 3, just 2 of 10 from the outside of Welledge, and part of that was Najee Marshall, not really himself. He had 13 and 7, but 0 of 6 from the 3-point line. And Travis Steele, in one of his post-game interviews, said that Najee, over a couple-day stretch where he was sick, actually lost 15 pounds. So we didn't get a true look at Najee Marshall in night 1.
Najee did not practice Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. He was questionable on game day for being out there because he had the flu. The trainer, Dave Fluker, spent like 3 straight days with him with IVs and fluids and all that. And he came out, and Najee showed a lot of grit. He played 36 minutes. And actually, the last 6 or 7 minutes of the game, with Scruggs out of the game with fouls and Elias Harden in foul trouble, it was Najee dominating the ball. He controlled the ball. He was the point forward, and IUPUI couldn't pry the ball away from him. I thought Najee, really considering the circumstances, to score 17, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and the way he dominated the ball, he was a key to salting that game away. And Tyreek Jones played 14 minutes in the second half and took care of the foul trouble situation, and had 6 dunks. I mean, he made a spin move off the high post that was a thing of beauty. It was like, who's the quickest first step big guy in the NBA? I mean, it was like boom, right to the hoop. Of course, IUPUI had nobody to guard him, really, because the big Egyptian picked up 3 fouls in the warm-up. He was a non-factor, as I predicted.
Do you,
not that I'm Nostradamus, but that guy, hey, there was no way he could stay with Hanky McSpanky or with Tyreek.
I mean, Tyreek, there's back-to-back steals, the top of the key. That was awesome. I mean, he looked so quick. It was like that. I mean, he looked really good. He looked really fast.
He's down to 235. He's lost 25, and he's still as strong and nasty as he was before.
Yep.
So I didn't get a chance to watch the game. Did we ever see a lineup with Tyreek and Hankins in the game together? Or not quite yet.
The way the game broke with the quick fouls on Tyreek, there was no way for Coach Steele to get them both on the floor at once. I don't think they were on the floor together at all. And I think at some point that lineup, especially against a team like Wisconsin coming up, or a bigger Big East team with a good, strong inside game, that he will make an effort to get those guys out there. But they're both so aggressive, I'm afraid, especially on the road in the Big East, those guys are going to get in foul trouble, damn it. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is.
All right, and Quentin Gooden was back at practice yesterday. Do you expect him to play in the next game on Saturday against Evansville?
He was pretty much full go in practice yesterday, except for the bubble rebounding box-out drill. I don't think he participated in that, or he was so far at the back of the line that they got the 7 straight defensive rebounds before he had to take his turn. But I could see him dressing, taking the warm-up, and possibly getting some game action against the Evansville Purple Aces. But, to be frank, we got to be honest here. He's not going to be needed to beat Evansville. I'm not assuming anything, but the Evansville Purple Aces are in a complete rebuild mode. And your boy Dante Jackson this is his first official scout. He has Evansville as the scouting assistant, and he's putting in the work. I mean, he found the Illinois Evansville game Thursday night on Big Ten Plus, and he sat through the entire game. I'm sure.
I don't know how he sat through it.
Luckily, my computer went gabunga, and I could not watch any of that game. And
Kabunga.
I'm glad.
How do you spell Kabunga?
I don't
Kabunga.
know. I have no idea.
It was very similar to the Thursday night NFL football game where the Steelers completely beat on the Carolina Panthers. That was Thursday night at Illinois for Evansville. Illinois completely dominated that game. Evansville, like you said, rebuilding year, should be overmatched against Xavier on Saturday afternoon.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but Illinois drilled them 99-60. The score was 53-22, Fighting Illini at the half. And Walter McCarty, I'm sure, wanted to see a lot of his various play, but I would have gone with a running clock in the second half. And the ironic thing about this, the Illinois Evansville game and the Xavier Evansville game are part of what they call Maui on the mainland. In other words, Evansville is in the Maui Classic, but they don't get to go to Hawaii. How about that? They don't get any lays. They don't get to go to a luau. They don't get to walk on the beach. But they do get, I guess, some maybe enhanced payouts from Illinois and from Xavier for playing those. Maui on the mainland. I mean, that's like a complete non-starter, non sequitur. whatever. Maui is Maui. There's nothing on the mainland that equates to that place. It's God's gift to the earth.
It is.
Other than Dent and Delhi and I live in Cleves now. Other than those three garden
So
spots,
you're saying
Maui,
other than the west side of Cincinnati, basically, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, anything west of the Mill Creek in that area, that's God's country.
Okay.
Even Lower Price Hill with the old
What
barrel.
What about the east side?
The east
Here,
side
I mean,
is somewhat
Greg's an
sketchy.
east sider
No,
here.
East
I mean,
Sider.
how do you feel about what Andy's saying
They're
right now?
I just don't think I don't think he's been to the east side.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really sure because the west side, that's pretty sketchy to me.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen anyone go to the west side.
We got a
I feel like they
problem.
just appear from.
got a
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
Everybody on the east side is foo-foo. It's a transient area. People who come in, stay a couple years, grab big bucks from P&G or GE or something.
So
and
you're
then-
saying they're
then
smart.
They move on.
You're
Then they
saying
move
they're
on.
smart people.
No, those of us who are rock rib Cincinnatians who have Skyline chili running through our veins, etc., we appreciate the low pressure sort of.
I heard
my,
the west
my
side
friends
was
on
more
the
Gold
east
Star.
side, and I do have friends on the east side. They go, Andy Mack, we can't figure out how to get to your house. We can't the roads. Those are barriers to entry. We don't want you over here. You don't have a green card, don't come in. You know, you didn't graduate from Elder. I like the Elder guys, like the new Inquirer beat guy, Adam Baum. He is Elder guys. Not only do they never change area codes, they don't change zip codes. I mean, they're in the same zip code for life, and there's nothing wrong with that.
They don't change shirts either. They wear the same shirt every day.
Do not
same
question
thing every day.
Elder. Do not question Adams.
I mean, Andy wears the same undershirt every day, and he's only been doing that since he went to the west side.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy hasn't bought a new shirt in decades.
Yeah, 35 years.
He hasn't bought a new pen either.
Well, this thing is running out of. I love this pen. It's running out of ink.
Andy,
It's
will you hold
showing
up-
signs of
Will you hold up your
depleting.
notes? Will you hold up your
Yeah,
notes?
hold up the notes for everybody here. Can you show the crowd? How the
That is
heck
how to
does Andy
prepare,
read
baby.
this?
That is how to prepare.
These, just so you know, the emails I get from Andy, they look just like this. So just so everybody's aware.
And he's
cryptic. He's very cryptic. He doesn't want anybody to know what he's up to.
last person on the planet to still write in cursive.
You know, it's a dying talent, cursive writing.
Yeah.
It's something I'm trying to preserve
I'm pretty
for
sure it's
future
extinct.
generations. I want to put it in like a time capsule, and we'll bury it at the corner of the Schmidt Field House. Or the garden. The Gardens is gone now. Cincinnati Gardens is gone. Nobody.
R.I.P. I mean, we
sorry.
got way off conversation of trying to
did.
preview Evansville.
Yep.
They have a new head coach,
There
Walter
ain't a whole lot
McCarty.
to talk about with the Aces.
They're not good. It's basically all you need to know is that Evansville not good at all. Xavier should win by 20 plus. This team is awful. And a big part of that is they have a new coach. Their best players left. They have nothing coming back. They're picked to finish last in the Missouri Valley. So, I mean, when you think of Evansville, you think of a team that's had some decent basketball talent over the years and have had some good teams. This year, not so much.
That's what you think about?
I think when I think of Evansville used to have some quality teams in the Valley.
I don't think anyone has been sitting around thinking, "Oh, Evansville, I'm quality team."
Well, I think if you're a high,
You never heard of Uwe Blop?
They used to be. They used to have some
Parrish
squads.
Beer. They had some great
squads.
players.
you're being too generous.
Marty
one's-
Simmons.
No
If
one's sweating.
I would say
Evansville.
if you're a college basketball guy, which I consider myself, I would get nervous about playing Evansville in years past.
Oh, wait a minute. I made a mistake. Uwe Blop played for Indiana. His brother Olaf played for Evansville. He wasn't quite as good, but he was a 7'2" Spider-Man. He was a shot blocker. But they fired Marty Simmons, who was there 11 years. He was a former Indiana Mr. Basketball. And Marty's top two players, well, his son Blake graduated. Their point guard, Drew Smith, immediately transferred to Mizzou. He'll redshirt and be a factor in their backcourt next year. And Ryan Taylor did a grad transfer to Northwestern. He scored heavily last night against in their game in New Orleans. He was immediately eligible. So they lost 21 points a game in Taylor, 14 points a game and 6 assists with Drew Smith. Blake Simmons graduated. Poor Walter McCarty, although I imagine he's making a big contract.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a whole lot left. They have a really good big 6'5" point guard in KJ Riley. They have a huge Lithuanian, Danius Chetkavicius, 6'9", 240. And they do have a D3 transfer sniper by the name of Shea Feehan, who was second in D3 in scoring last year, 30 points a game.
For a team that's as bad as Evansville, you know a lot of these guys' names, so I am impressed.
Well, this guy transferred from Eureka College in Illinois. He averaged 30 points a game last year, number 2 in Division III. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll give him credit. He's probably a really good shooter. He's like the guy who went to Michigan, who played for Michigan, Robinson. The big guy, he played last year on their national championship.
Oh, Duncan Robinson?
But he was like 6'8" from Williams College.
Yeah, and he plays in the NBA
And he's playing in the NBA. This guy's like 5'8".
Yeah, so probably won't play in the NBA.
He's a little dude. I think Xavier thinks they can probably cover him, but maybe not.
All right, so Evansville Saturday should be a blowout. But what I do want to preview, Andy, the Wisconsin Badgers, who come to the Cintas Center on Tuesday. That is a marquee team, a marquee opponent, will be the best team Xavier faces before going to Maui. Last year, one of the more iconic moments in Xavier history was J.P. Macura giving the Wisconsin fans the little gator chomp right there, which was fantastic. Wisconsin's going to want a little redemption, and they definitely did not forget that game. What are your thoughts on the Badgers?
Well, I've got basically everybody back from the first team at Wisconsin to miss the NCAA in like 20 years. But they have good talent, and Ethan Happ is their be-all and end-all. He had a triple-double in their 20-point win over Coppin State on Tuesday. And they don't play anybody else until they play Xavier next Tuesday. Happ had 11 points, 12 assists, 11 rebounds. Coppin State apparently tried to double him on every possession, and he's a great passer. He just found the shooters, boop, 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 boop. And one of the key guys they have back who was injured last year is Dimitri Trice. Really good, athletic, jet-fast point guard. He had 21 against Coppin. They have Brad Davison back, who played all last year as a freshman, averaged like 13 and 5, and he had his shoulder in a harness. Now this year he's healthy. He's very, very good. They've got Davison, as I say. They have a 6'10" guy, Reavers, who is put on weight. He's very good. They have Kobe King. They have that guy, Prentzel, who's a good outside shooter. They're maybe not as deep and as talented as their Frank the Tank teams and all that, but they're really good. They're probably top 4 in the Big Ten, and it'll be a tough one for Xavier. It's going to go right down to the wire. If Xavier wins it, it'll be a close one, and Xavier working on a game of a string of 41 straight non-conference home victories dating back 6 years. That's assuming, and I hate to do that, a win over Evansville. It's 41 straight. And Wisconsin, a real threat to break that streak. But Xavier's had a great record against the Big Ten. They're 2-0 in those Gavitt games. Mm-hmm. They tried to screw Xavier. They put them on the road twice in the Gavitt games. They won at Michigan. They won at Wisconsin last year. And the real acid test is whether that golfer, Steve Stricker, will have the guts to show up.
Steve Stricker
after what he said on against Xavier Nation and J.P. Macura, after what their Red Storm or Red something student section did to JP from the warm-up all the way through. They aggravated him. They incited him. And I don't blame JP for doing what he did at the end of the game. And you got to give JP credit. He was, with the Gator Chomp, he was referring to Florida's upset of Wisconsin in the NCAA. He's a historian.
He is.
He knows his basketball. That was a great touch. He was just rubbing it in from that Florida game. I think that was cool.
I love the picture of JP with the Badger, and then there's
that's the best
in
picture.
The student section. You have all the students flipping him the bird.
There's like
him.
18 kids flipping him the bird.
Yeah.
Just the JP's out there smiling with the Gator, and they're all flipping him the bird. And they got on JP from the warm up all the way through. I mean, and it was nasty. And I could see why, he certainly had a reason to gloat at that point when Xavier was way up. After he had that emphatic dunk to put him up like 7 or 8. That was a thing of beauty, JP.
All right, so Saturday should not be too much of a challenge.
It shouldn't.
Tuesday will be a challenge. And Ethan Happ is one of the best players in the country. Brad Davison, as you said, really good. Even a guy like Khalil Iverson, not a great offensive player, but a really good defender. And Wisconsin has a couple of impact freshmen, a couple of interesting players coming back from injury, so that will be a big challenge. Andy, I'd like to take a look around the Big East. You want to talk about your Providence Friars, because outside of Xavier, you have a love affair with Coach Ed Cooley and the Providence Friars. I don't completely understand it, but I know that's a team that you would like to touch on pretty much every time that you speak.
Well, you call it a love affair. Actually, it's a dose of reality. They are loaded with talent. They have freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They have they're 3 deep at every position, and they have the puppet master, Ed Cooley, who is supremely confident every year. He doesn't play just cupcakes in the non-conference, as noted by his game Friday night down in Annapolis, Maryland, in a Veterans Classic. I mean, Providence doesn't kid around. They play Wichita State on a neutral floor in Game 2. They beat Siena in their opener, and a little bit of a shock here as Coach Cooley started his 2 high-profile freshman guards, David Duke at the point, and this guy, A.J. Reeves, 29 points against a good Siena team, 7 made threes. And he has a bunch of guards on the bench, that White guy, that Langford-Ashford guy, that, he's got a bunch of upperclassmen that he just, maybe he's trying to jolt those guys psychologically. And the only negative right now for Providence is that that Emmett guy, Emmett
Holt.
Emmett Holt only played 6 minutes. Maybe they're bringing him along. He had that really serious abdominal problem last year, missed the whole year. He might be a key to them. He's a 5th-year guy, undersized big man, but a gritty player. So, I mean, PC is loaded, and Cooley will take a few losses early to get things right in his rotation.
All right, and Xavier won. Every other team in the Big East won that played. Butler, the only team in conference that is yet to play. They will play Miami, Ohio on Saturday. Anything else that stood out to you from the Big East teams that played this past week?
Yeah, not to get down on St. John's, but they played Loyola, Maryland, and they're sort of like Evansville-esque in terms of a lack of ability. And the Big Four, Pons, Heron, Justin Simon, and Marvin Clark did all the damage. He got very little of anything from anybody else. Which is sort of the way. I mean, that's a great 4 guys, but you got to have somebody to rebound and somebody to play a little defense, and So I wish whatchamajigger Mullen luck, but
whatchamajigger.
He better get some nicks, intercept some guys headed down to the G League or something.
All right. So Andy, do you have your swimsuit ready to go? Are you all set? Do you feel like you're in
I do not have a beach body.
Position?
I will not be. I will be on the beach, but wearing a T-shirt and probably long pants.
Do you swim with the T-shirt, Andy?
Did you buy a new T-shirt, or are you just wearing your undershirt?
I've got water shoes, too. I swim with a T-shirt. I have a pet dolphin that I've cultivated a relationship with off Maui because I've been there like 8 times. My son lived over there, so I had to go over and support him and make many trips.
Had to support him over there.
I was afraid he would be led down the road to degradation by a hula girl. So I had to be there because he's a doctor. He makes a lot of money. And he's a good kid.
Well, we'd love the support on this show, Andy, so I don't know why that has not come through yet.
Kids.
Well, we got to do one more segment, countdown to the shootout. We're doing this. And we'll just slip in the UC score. OSU beat them 64-56. But UC made a hell of a run at the end, man. They shot the ball like it was
Be careful.
The rock was a total.
Andy will go down the UC rabbit hole. It'll happen. We're not doing that.
Down.
We're not doing that yet.
Cumberland had a great second. That guy is like a Rumpke truck without brakes heading down Straight Street up in Clifton. That guy is a great. He should be in the NBA. He missed the boat by not going to the NBA. He and Jacob Evans should be teammates with Golden State or something.
Where do you get these metaphors from?
I don't
Is that just, that's off the top
You know
for
where
you?
Straight Street is?
No,
Terry Nelson does. It's right there in Clifton. It goes like boom. And they close it. Anytime there's a snowflake, they close that damn street. Anyway.
Well, next time you're there, take a video and put it on Twitter if you can figure it out.
I'm a little questionable about the UC guards. They're sort of smallish. A little smallish. But the guy who came off the bench, that Logan guy, played really well.
Logan Johnson.
He's like a fire plug.
I love how Andy
He's super athletic.
Andy can never say a nice thing about UC. It has to be a
But
slight
the thing is,
before
he'll try to say something, and then it's like dig.
Then I qualify.
It's like a big
negative reinforcement.
Yeah, it's like with all due respect.
Yeah.
or no offense,
He
but
goes one
Yeah.
positive and 5 negatives.
It's all in good fun. the arena looks super.
Have you been in there?
Of course, the old one, man. I've sat a few
that's
times.
what I'm saying.
Here we
do
go.
it.
The guy can't help himself.
Right.
I sat a few times on the upper deck there at the shoe, and you had an option. You could either watch the game or see the scoreboard. One or the other was A or B. And
Playing to the crowd here. Andy, do you have anything
Are we
else to say?
going
Because we
long
got to
here?
take. Well, we got to take a little bit of a break because you're going to be in Maui. We're going to be in Mexico next week. So I don't know how we're going to do anything.
how are we going to do this? Can
We're
we
gonna have-
Skype? We do a dual Skype.
If we did a,
Well, we have the camera gear in Mexico, so
we
I
might be
just
able
don't
to
know.
figure something out. We can
we're
call
gonna
in
be.
Andy
I'm gonna
from
be
Maui.
honest. We're probably just gonna have to skip a week.
It's going to be challenging. 'cause-
Really? Oh no! How will the body politic survive without our podcast?
I have no idea.
Well, your Twitter. They can just follow you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy Mack on Twitter now.
I don't even know what my handle is.
All
by
right,
the way.
Greg, that's enough, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we're good.
we've covered enough.
Yeah.
Nick, we've covered enough
Yeah,
here.
we are good to go.
Andy, we're done. We're
Oh,
out
you
of
want
here.
to know about the Evansville bench guys?
No, we don't want to know about it. I already know too much about Evansville.
They got a guy
I'm
from
done.
Croatia that they brought in from the NAI.
All right, and that is Kicking It Old School with Andy Mack. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to follow Andy on Twitter because he's doing a heck of a job. Great stats on there. That is it for Brad Redford, Nick Given, Greg Witchard, and Andy Mack. See you next time.